What's up, my friends in the film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. The journey through the Upside Down is going to be complete at the end of the night. It's been a long 5 seasons. It's been about 10 years of 5 seasons. You know what I'm talking about. But the book is now closed on all things Stranger Things, and we are here to talk about that tonight. Starting with my Header Life Mate Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I'm here. We'll get through this last bit. I'm saving a movie quote, which I'm sure you'll appreciate. I should have opened with it, but I'm sure I'll work it in there somewhere. If you know, you know. If you're fans of Kevin Smith, you'll know where I'm going with this.
And then, of course, joining us for the first time in a while is the Shape of the Lone Star State, my man Tex.
Well, you know, Frank, you say is the end. If I go on X right now, you know, Conformity Gate, I think it's legit because I really shouldn't say this, but the Duffer Brothers themselves knew that we were doing this stream, so they came to me and said, hey, we're going to give you some exclusive sneak peeks about all these hidden episodes that may or may not going to happen, wink, wink. So if you pay real close attention, I'm going to be dropping some hints about where and how to watch them, so make sure you're watching good. So, you know, they're in there somewhere.
I'm sure that will be on a reputable website that you have all the
places. I saw it on the internet, so it has to be true. I mean, isn't that how that works? I mean, you know, this is what
very
it is.
True. But I mean, let's get right into it now. Let me start this like I usually start the movie reviews, and I'll kind of get your guys' general thoughts. This last episode was, in and of itself, it was a full-length movie. It was 2 hours, and I think 10 minutes was the official runtime. That was a full movie. So I'll go to you first, Jay. Give me your quick thoughts on the finale without going into too many spoilers. We'll get there eventually. Give me your quick thoughts on how this whole thing wrapped up.
Let me tell you something. If the Duffer Brothers really wanted to blow me away with this Stranger Things series, they would have ended this thing on a logical closure point and not the 25 endings that followed. Yeah, there's your line for you. No.
That works. Bravo, sir.
I had to pull out my inner Randall there for a minute.
Well, it wasn't like we had to watch them, walk Vecna back to the Upside Down or anything. So,
well, they were walking for quite a while, to be fair. They were in that dimension just kind of doing a lot of walking. And then just, saw it and was like...
and just dropped it in there and shrugged and walked away.
Yeah, they dropped Nancy there and then just kind of shrugged and they ran back. Yeah, it kind of felt like, two parts. The whole leading up to this final confrontation with Vecna, and then, where does this leave everybody else, and where are we putting in our spinoffs? So that's where you get, 2+ hours worth of an episode, if you can even call it an episode anymore. There's a lot that happened. I was kind of surprised that, like you said, I don't think any of our predictions for deaths and stuff like that were even true, which is a little bit annoying.
We were about 2% right at the end of the day.
I don't think we were right at all. Nope. Like I don't know. It was a little annoying. And I'm like, maybe 5 people in total really had a happy ending. There were some other things I'm surprised we didn't do and just didn't mention. So yeah, again, we'll get into it, I'm sure. I have questions.
Tex, you were adamant about joining us for this particular review as we were wrapping this thing up. Give me some of your final thoughts on the series finale of Stranger Things.
Well, if you want the short version, just look below me here. Season 5, like the fat one. That's the short version. But what the fuck were they thinking? Okay, I know our little D&D crew are the heroes of the show, but apparently
I need to somehow put Tex's face on dipshit Derek's body.
Put him on Derek, yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, please. Oh, tell me what kind of facial expression you want. I will send you that picture. That'd be great. But apparently you can just slaughter numerous military servicemen and just get away with it. Like no repercussions, no nothing. So many questions. We built up this Vecna's the baddest guy ever. And a wine mom with a bad theft habit can behead him and everything's fine. Just so many fuck, man. I don't.
No,
whatever.
That's a D&D thing, and I can explain that one to you. I can explain that to you. Actually,
okay. Well, I will be happy to get that explanation.
I've been Joyce Byers before in a fight. I didn't, I turned that guy. I didn't do shit, but I sure as hell. I have been taken out.
Does nothing all.
Yeah, I've done that before. I kind of giggled at
does
that.
Nothing all season besides tell her son to put on a coat because it's cold outside, kidnap a family, and behead the worst villain ever. Just be fucking cuz. That makes sense. Okay. But whatever. Apparently these two idiots are allegedly great storytellers. I don't think so. But yeah, season 5 sucked a fat one. So.
I have a generally better view than Tex, although I have my qualms about the final episode.
You normally do, though, to be fair.
I try to be objective.
Normally you do, yes.
I try to be objective. There were things I liked. There were things I didn't quite like. I mean, overall, I give it a passing grade. But my problem was with a couple of narrative things. There are a couple of things, and I've said it before. It's like sometimes you practice a little bit of disassociation, a little bit of turning off your brain and just stuffing your face full of popcorn and cherry Coke and whatever and enjoying the ride. So some of these things, while I kind of giggled at them and rolled my eyes a bit, I was like, whatever. It's a movie where a bunch of dimensional creatures try to take over a small town in Indiana in the 80s. I can't take it all that seriously, but there are a few things that I kind of giggled at the end. But let's get down to where we start with this episode. Obviously, the last episode, we saw them all heading into the Upside Down to position themselves for this final battle against Vecna. As episode 8 begins, the military scrambles to catch up with the group's plan to stop Vecna. 11, Hopper, Murray, and Callie abandon their truck and prepare to enter the lab connected to the Upside Down. However, they are not alone. A rogue faction within the military has decided to pursue 11 directly, convinced that Dr. K will only slow their operation. At the lab, Hopper prepares 11 to enter the tank once again. Despite his reservations, he agrees to trust her judgment. Mr. Clark even joins the effort alongside Erica, taking on lookout duty as the group braces for any kind of interference. Kind of a pretty solid start to the episode, I thought. I'll go to you first, Tex. At this point, what were you thinking of the episode at this point, and how everybody was positioning themselves for the final battle?
Well, not just this final battle, but the whole military this season. You could have took them out of this season, and nothing would have been missed from the show. Like how much? I even question how much did the military actually know about what happened and what was going on? Did they know about Vecna? They had to have seen Vecna come through that portal halfway through the season and everything, and right they had Sarah Connor and completely went her while even in this season. Completely non-consequential. You could have took her out of it, but I guess they had to have their 80s cameo. But as far as this episode goes, it was a fine start to this episode, considering how the last one left off with, hey, we're on the verge of apocalypse, but I don't like girls, because that's a fucking conversation that you need to have at that point in time. But needless, about that, there's so many start and stops with this show. How many times did we say, okay, this is the plan, whether it's with a slinky or records or whatever? They plan more times than they wipe their ass. I don't understand it. I guess it was fine for what it was, considering how this season has been. I think that's about as good as they were going to do. I think you could have pulled the military completely out of it because they were pointless. And at one point in time, wasn't it poisonous to be in the Upside Down, or am I forgetting that?
I don't think so. I don't think it was poisonous to be upside down.
I believe in the early seasons when they were going down there, they had to wear like the rebreather suits and stuff. But like, I guess they changed the lore or something, or they figured out something. I don't know, but it was fine for what it was. I guess it's just, I don't know. I don't think this episode was written very well, to be honest with you.
Jeremy, how about you? At this point, the first couple of minutes of the episode, what are you thinking about how everything started off?
It starts off how every plan starts, and how every plan in D&D starts. It's like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to try to do, and have everybody in position. And then it's going to quickly go to shit every time, because that's what happens. And then, I mean, that's just a fact. It just seems like nothing ever goes right, which is kind of the most D&D thing I've ever heard of. So while I'm like, yeah, this all sounds great in theory, and that we're just assuming this is going to work, that these two worlds are gonna, just barely touch each other, and that's our ticket in. So, yeah, it's a good solid plan, but as we know, it never actually goes that way. I'm still kind of with Hopper. Like I said, I wouldn't trust Callie as far as I could throw her, and I have my qualms with that too. Like, he might be out of line, but I think he's kind of right on this one.
Yeah, I really
whenever.
Well, this episode definitely changed my mind about Callie. I was wondering right up to the end whether she was.
It didn't change my mind.
Well, I mean, she was the only.
Spoiler, she fucking died, and I just felt nothing. I was like, oh no.
Well,
Anywho.
She was
anyway
like going on. She was the only one.
Right.
She was the only one who was intellectually honest about this whole thing to herself and to everybody else. It's like everybody was so emotionally involved. She was just like, guys. And this is maybe because I had questioned even bringing her back. But, like 3 seasons. Yeah, I had questioned even bringing her back because she wasn't a very well liked part of the show when she was in there a couple seasons ago. But I questioned bringing her back. But I mean, it made sense in the fact that it's kind of like Terminator. You can't leave even one Cyberdyne chip around, so he's got to self-terminate, and he can't do it, so he has to have Sarah Connor and John Connor lower him into the molten metal. She knows from the very beginning. She's like, as long as one of us are out there, this is never going to stop. So we kind of have to go down with the ship in order to truly end this thing. And I realized that she is the only one that has been intellectually honest with herself about this whole thing, because there's so much emotion on everybody else's part. Obviously Hopper's background with his daughter and everything plays into his character's motivation and their emotion. I mean, Elle is just a kid dealing with all this shit. At least she was 27 years ago when they started the show. Now she's 47 and a mother, for Christ's sake. But
she's about to get on Social Security, it looks like.
Yeah, everybody is so emotionally invested in what's going on. She's the only one that's really seeing it from an outsider's perspective. So I kind of got it. Now, she had that moment where they're in the tank and him and Elle are talking, and he's already had this vision from Vecna that all went crazy. We'll talk about that in a minute. But where she draws the gun on Hopper because she thinks Hopper isn't going to let things happen the way it is, the way it needs. She thinks it needs to happen. And I was just like, oh shit, is this where she turns heel? Is this where she shows the villain side? But she actually, no, she lightened up and was just like, okay, I fucking get it. Let's just make sure we win this thing. Probably knowing that at some point her and Elle had already decided to make sure they were in the Upside Down, and it went away anyway. But we'll talk about that more when we get there. Let's see. The rest of the tower, the rest of the group, of course, heads towards the tower. And boy, was there a whole lot going on at this tower. I could have sworn I had a better picture of everything going at the tower, but maybe I did not. I swear to God, I got about 57 pictures of this episode because I was like, I might need that one, I might need that one, I might need that one, but no.
Doing that.
Well, you know what? There was a lot going on. I didn't know what you guys were going to want to talk about, but the rest of the team heads to the radio tower in the Upside Down with Max and Vicky remaining behind in the real world. As the group climbs, Mike and Will finally address Will's speech that he gave in the last episode, sort of, not really. Mike apologizes for failing to recognize how much Will was struggling, but I mean, whatever. Acknowledging his own self-absorption, but whatever. That moment was fine. Meanwhile, Dr. K and her unit are spotted moving towards the lab, escalating the threat on both sides of the gate. Boy, this is where we came really, really close to seeing the first death. And I really thought for a minute, I was like, wow, is this where the first one comes? Is it going to be Steve? They head faked us really hard with this, and I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the whole ascent up the tower and up to the point where the worlds start to collide?
Yeah, who knew all it took to stop two worlds colliding was one radio tower? That's crazy. Like just that one thing, poof, stopped it all and created a perfect little bridge. But yeah, this moment right here, because I had tickets to go watch this in theaters. I didn't get to after the car wreck. I was laying in bed and couldn't remember what my name was. So when I did finally get to see this, the moment where Steve like goes off the edge, they like cut to black for a minute, right? And then I'm like, oh, are they actually going to grow some balls here and finally show some stakes for this battle? Like there's actually going to be a cost. And they do like that slow-mo Steve falling thing, and then the other Jonathan or whatever, that useless character, reaches out and grabs him, and they do the whole, well, I don't like you, but that don't mean we can't be friends, or whatever bullshit moment that they have later. But yeah, I thought in this moment maybe they were actually going to do something serious to show stakes here. But once again, the Duffer Brothers, they made the mistake of falling in love with their characters too much and not killing them. Hell, I didn't know until I realized it. Steve was supposed to have died in season 1, but they just loved him and his character so much they couldn't let it go. But a little character, by the name of Eddie Munson, he couldn't reappear or anything. That's I guess that's asking too much. But they're up on the radio tower. We're building this. The scene itself I thought was all right. It had decent tension in it. Some of the CG was kind of dodgy a little bit at times, especially the background stuff. But I like this scene for what it was. It's just I wish the stakes had been more. It's not like we don't have 25 characters on this show that everybody gets a turn. We can't kill a few of them off. What the hell? That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it a little more as we go into the epilogue. But I don't know, Jeremy, what do you think? The whole mission to even connect the Upside Down to the abyss, as they called it. What do you think of that section of the episode?
X.
This is another one of those where everything has to kind of go right, and the timing of which has to happen in a certain sequence. So. And like I said in the last one, I'm like, this is a pretty bold plan that they're just going to kind of wait for this thing to come closer to the tower so they can get up. Then I was wondering that too, like when they look up and they see it, the tower is actually going to poke through the bottom and not like through one of the rifts. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's not just going to, again, that's part one of it not going smoothly. Right. And they have to make sure that Elle takes a whack at Henry to get it to stop. And I think they do just in time, because I think they realize, like, oh yeah, we're way up on this tower, and if this thing smacks into us, like, that's game over, dude. That's bad news bears, and we're falling off this thing. Which, like we said, we almost saw that. Steve about took a tumble off there. Which I thought, oh shit, oh no. Like, there's a couple of times where, again, it was, a couple of deaths were head faked, and that's what kind of got on my nerves. I was like, if we're gonna kill somebody, like, it seems like it would, just don't cop out on it. This is a lot of the like, hey guys, remember in Star Wars how we killed Chewbacca? What? Oh yeah, just kidding. Not really. We didn't though. Like in the next scene, I'm like, well, okay, there was some emotional weight and like some heavy storytelling with that, like the implications, that somebody used some powers that just kind of got out of their control and ended up killing a main character. I'm like, damn, that would have been ballsy. And they're like, yeah, no, not really. Like, okay, I feel nothing. Like, I don't know, but yeah, it again at the last second. Thankfully, they got 11 in there to kind of start chipping away at Henry and get it to stop so they can do their thing. And also Max, I think, even got yoinked in there into the memories to kind of help 11 and Callie out.
Oh yeah, I think wasn't it Or didn't it? Elle pulled her in because she knew Vecna's mind or some shit. Whatever that was.
She'd been like looking at all the memories for the past like
Yeah,
year and a half or something, so she kind of knew how to navigate it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot where I was in my notes. Yeah, I was kind of. I mean, look, this is again. It was one of those kind of tension building scenes where you fill it with a little bit of fluff because you can't just watch them climbing up the tower. You have to add in a little conversation with Mike and Will, which whatever. I thought it was again. It was just one of those things. I criticized the way they handled that whole scene we did the last episode. It should have been something much more subtle. It should have been much more smaller scale, something much more personal. And by making it a big announcement in a time where that wouldn't have really happened that way, I thought they kind of did the moment a disservice. Because from a character moment, it kind of had to happen. But like I was saying last week, it should have happened on a smaller scale. Maybe just talking to his mom at first, or maybe his mom and his brother, and then like after all this shit goes down, he's like, "Hey guys, I want to talk to you," and then maybe it happens off screen. But they were so hell bent on making this big fucking moment that it just kind of slowed everything down. So they had to kind of throw in one of these dialogue scenes where him and Mike were talking on their way up the tower, because you have to revisit it again, because heaven forbid you don't satisfy the LGBTQ plus gods by having by touching on that conversation one more time. But whatever.
This is Netflix after all.
True.
We all know what masters they serve. So
well, they don't. Well, they're craptastic creators sometimes. Sometimes they're great creators. They're terrible marketers, and then sometimes they're just dumb all around. But yeah, you had to touch on that moment again, and they did. With, I'm sure everybody who was freaking out about the whole Will being gay thing was wanting fucking Mike to fall madly in love with him at the top of this tower, knowing damn well it wasn't going to happen. I'm just like, okay, you addressed it. We move on to the fight now, because I was like, I'm done with this whole Will is gay storyline. It wasn't handled very well from the beginning. It was forced on us anyway. Even after being forced on us, it wasn't handled very well this season. I thought it was very poorly done. I thought the announcement was terrible. So I was just like, okay, let's just move on to fighting Vecna, which is kind of all I really got out of the entire scene. But the next big question is, does Elle manage to get a chance to stop Vecna? In the real world, like Jeremy just said, Max is pulled into a shared mental space created by Eleven and Callie. Together, they enter Vecna's mind, revisiting Henry Crewell's memories. This is where a lot of shit starts to come into focus. These visions reveal connections between Henry, Hopper, and Joyce date back to their school years back in the 60s, information that was never shared with the rest of the group. As the military advances on the radio tower, Vicky hides Max during a seizure, while the structure itself begins to fall. Inside Vecna's mind palace, Eleven attacks Henry directly. Outside, Jonathan narrowly saves Steve from falling as the tower collapses. Again, it went from 0 to 60 over the course of this like 10 or 15 minutes of screen time very, very quickly. I'll go to you first, Jay. We finally kind of went balls out from here on out for the rest of the episode. Give me some of your thoughts on where we're at right now.
I'm sorry, I'm doing other things at the same time. Where are we? Oh, hey.
The attack as the attack on the upside down laboratory starts.
I was just like, hey, look, that's a moment I'm screaming at Murray, like, dude, you better huck one of those C4s down there, because this is kind of causing a problem.
Murray was great. I liked him.
Murray's the goddamn best. If anybody was going to die and ended up being Hamilton, I would have been so mad. I love Murray.
He was great.
Yeah. He's at least kind of the most realistic one. He's just sitting there like trying to take all his buddies, like, God, it's a dumb idea. Like ripping this C4 up, and I thought for a second, I was like, don't go too far.
Just him shit talking the science teacher about fucking the librarian. That was fucking hilarious. I love that shit. That was great.
Yeah, I think that was my line for that episode. It's like, oh, what, you get too rowdy in bed and she shush you? Yeah. I think that's also why I love Murray. Is like, if anybody's got the same kind of just like attitude towards shit, that's probably pretty close to how I am. It's got to be Murray. Yeah, thankfully he was there to use one of those C4s to stop the Sonic the Hedgehog, whatever the fuck that thing is. Because they fly now. So they fly now. He likely got that thing down there and got it to get rid of its little chokehold on Elle and Callie. Again, another one of those like kind of bold moments where it's like you understand it. The Elle and Kelly kind of got incapacitated there, and then Hopper doesn't even hesitate. He picks Elle up and just runs off, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
you figure it out. Again, I'm just like, I don't feel anything because I'm like, haven't you been just shit talking this whole season? Like, I know everything about everything, and you're all stupid. And I'm like, all right, well then you figure it out, you fucking little smart ass. Like Callie just got left
Pretty
there. I'm
much.
like, well, you got it. I mean, somehow you lived when everyone else died, which is kind of crazy. Which I still think was a lie. Because again, somebody who can manipulate like things you see, who, like I said, she's basically the reality stone of this series. I'm like, I don't know if I trust a word you ever said, because you just kind of play with people's minds and what they see. But I guess narratively that is not only like when Hopper and Elle had that kind of heart to heart there, him going back for her was like that turning point for her, which I'm assuming, I'm like, was she going to do something just like really crazy and decided, nah, he'll be fine. I don't know. And I think that also, that's really the only thing I think happened, right? Because the rest of them climbed up the tower into the other dimension. And they're starting their Lord of the Rings. They're just walking towards just something. They're walking.
I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. That was that moment for me. That's what that was.
Yeah. Oh, no. Tex, if I asked you yet, sorry, I was trying to do some production stuff while Jeremy.
No, you're good. No, you're good. No, yeah, no. This was probably one of the more enjoyable scenes, just because of Murray and his badassery that we were just speaking of a moment ago. You know what? I was wondering when the powder keg of Hopper and the two, superpowered, girls were going to blow, because number whatever. I'm with Jeremy. I don't trust a character that has one expression for an entire season and you just look like a villain. Like, she never smiles, or like the only time she shows compassion is when she's trying to get Elle to kill herself. So I'm thinking, like, okay, what's going to happen here? Is Vecna inside of you? What's going on? And this is really probably the most convoluted part of the show, because you've got like 3 plot lines going all at once. This is like that, that first downturn on the roller coaster where you're picking up speed and whatever. And I mean, yeah, you're right about this being the part of the episode where, now hindsight being 2020, we know how quickly the action is wrapped up and we're back to 25 different endings. But before knowing that, this part of the episode was enjoyable, because this was just action. We're going to, kick ass and take names kind of thing. And, you've got Indian girl shot in the stomach. Elle's over here, not sure what she's going to do. And Hopper, he's pretty much trying to hold everything together. And then Murray comes in, like Captain America at the last moment to, save everybody's ass. So, yeah, it worked. It was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was, like I said, this is kind of where the episode starts to go balls out and doesn't really end until the final punches have been thrown and we start the epilogue. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool setting everything up, watching them set up the bombs and kind of like physically kind of A-team the hell out of what was going on in the episode. I thought that was really fun. But is the spell over the children broken? Is the big question. Where is my one picture? Boy, I got a lot of pictures of shit. Kids are in truth. Here we go. With the abyss temporarily halted, Nancy and the others cross through the portal to reach Vecna's physical location. His presence is unmistakable, marked by massive tendrils stretching throughout the cave system. Inside the Creel house, the children vanish. Max conceals them using Callie's abilities, while Eleven confronts Henry alone, attempting to force him to see himself as the monster he has become. Let's see. The children escape towards the cave as Eleven and Callie stay behind. Henry retaliates by manipulating Callie's memories, including visions of Hopper's daughter, in the idea that Eleven must sacrifice herself. Boy, this was one of the parts where there was a lot of face-to-face, chance for some good dialogue, some things like that. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think about this first big interaction between kind of the good guys and Henry?
It was a good, clever use. Like I said, this is again probably why Callie's here, because they're like, yeah, she has at least some interesting power that can be used to their advantage here. Because I think it's in the last episode. I'm like, I know kids are stupid, but like they can't be this goddamn stupid. Even like narratively, like there is no way you're this goddamn stupid. Like
I don't know. I was a kid in the '80s.
like,
We were kind
if
of
they
dumb
were a little
sometimes.
younger, I know the point. I know the point that Henry's, like they've been saying, the reason why he uses kids is because they're easily manipulated. I'm like, right, but these kids are almost like they're like tweens. I'm like, you really cannot be that dumb. They were all like 5 or 6. Yeah, I'd understand. Like, whatever. Narratively, sure. But I mean, like I said, this is the clever use of like Callie's powers to conceal the kids and then have 11 go in there and because he's not aware that the kids are actually watching, and he just kind of gives himself away, and they're all like, oh no, that's bad. Anyway, Holly, where do we go? Like, well, that was oh, where's the damn thing at? Gonna have to do it now. Just this one scene of Elle confronting Henry and turning the kids against him.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh, this is the one I had up a minute ago because I was just moving some pictures around.
There's a lot of. You could play that clip over and over and over again for this one episode, and you're completely justified. By the way. But,
I don't know. Again, I'm trying to take the D&D logic. I'm like, yeah, that was really lucky. That's how that works, and that's the only way it ever works.
yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. Again, good way to start getting everybody. Henry's losing his grip on a couple things. Like the kids end up escaping. I think we were talking about the thing with Hopper getting his mind invaded, right?
Yeah. Well, that was going to be next, but go ahead and go to it.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about that. Well, because I had a question about that, because I wondered, because when Hopper's looking around the room and sees all like the herbicide and all that shit, and about shits his pants, because I was like, oh no, that's not what you want. 55-gallon drum barrels of in your room. And yeah, Vecna kind of plays on his mind with the fact that his daughter died, and he's playing with his mind and shows him the conversation that Elle and Callie had, and I was kind of like, well, how did he know that? I was just really confused, because I'm like, how would Henry know that? He didn't know that conversation happened. The only one that knew that happened was 11 and Callie. So I'm like, for a second, I thought, like, is Callie screwing with him? So I'm like, oh crap!
I thought that too.
Yeah, because I was like, well, who would know about that? But then I'm like, I don't know how she would maybe know that Hopper had the daughter that died. I have no idea. But I get the scene narratively. I get the scene that like it's Hopper trying to bring him down and try to get inside his head, literally. And again, another kind of like with Steve, I was like, when he turned around and didn't really think about it, he just fucking mag dumps into the what he thought was Vecna, and you see him like he punctured holes in the tank. And I thought, oh shit, that's a shitty way to. Did he just straight up kill Elle? Like that's ballsy. Too bad that didn't happen. I was like, well, I kind of figured, because I thought, oh crap! I thought, no, that probably didn't just happen.
Yeah, I thought to myself, I was like, that can't be how Elle dies. That's just a terrible way for her to die.
I mean, that was shitty. I thought, damn, that was really, that's bold. That's for him to. I mean, I would think, I know it's emotional. It's a pretty charged moment. I thought, damn, Hop, you should know better. Where you're slinging your bullets, dude. But I don't know. Yeah, but of course it wasn't. It was just again to take Elle out of the equation, so that she stops invading like Henry's mind, so he can get back to what he's trying to do. Which then he takes off after the kids. So.
Did I go to you, Tex? Not yet. I don't think I did. I
No.
Sorry.
Well, no. I was going to say about like go back to the scene that you're talking about with Elle going against Henry. With all the kids being hidden. Of course, we had to have that scene because up until this point, the only two of those kids that would have been Holly and Derek who knew the actual truth. So you had to have that aha moment of, oh yeah, he's actually the dark man or whatever they called him, the dark creature that was in the forest. It wasn't Max. It was actually him. And what I liked it when obviously we got Vecna in his real form, all nasty and gross, right? But it was so cool to see regular Henry with like the arm decaying and all of the stuff coming out as he's going at Elle, and it's happening in front of those kids. Because now there's no more back and forth. There's no more brainwashing. There's no more whatever. They know what's going on. They see him with, holding Elle up in the air and just torturing the shit out of her. And of course, to kind of tag on to what Jeremy was talking about, whenever I saw Hopper shoot her in the tank, I'm like, oh fuck. That like I kind of had a feeling this is bullshit, but I'm like, how morbidly fitting would it be where he lost his first daughter and he is the end of his second, by no means of his own. Like that is serious storytelling that takes balls. And I think if this had been written by someone of a more skilled, maybe like a Tarantino type level or like a Robert Rodriguez level, I think they would have pulled that trigger. But whenever that moment happened, I'm like, damn. That was cool. I like that because that's showing the stakes that, once again, this finale lacks severely of. But there's some dark moments, like Henry doing his Vecna thing on Elle in front of the kids. Yeah, this needs to happen, but it's just there's a lot of little things in this show that are good, but just overall they just keep missing the landing. Like they just can't get, wheels down, just keep missing the mark for me.
Yeah, I thought again, this was all kind of getting back into the action. I didn't mean to click on that. My mistake. I've been moving pictures around. But I thought this was
jumping a wee bit ahead there.
Yeah, that's actually going to here in just a second. I'm trying to organize my pictures a little better. But where the hell I was at now. But the spell over the children. This moment had to happen. Eventually, the kids had to be made hip to what was going on. This is one of the things that I kind of rolled my eyes at. I was like, Henry doesn't know he's being fucked with right now because he knows that Callie's involved. He knows she's in the area. He knows that Elle is not stupid. He knows also that Will has apparently gained superpowers at some point this season for reasons I still don't quite understand. But I was like, he didn't kind of see this coming. He didn't. I thought they were all in a hive mind. Well, it's one of the things they've been talking about.
Well, that's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to ask. What y'all thought was, so obviously Vecna knows when Will is near. Will can sense when Vecna's near. So can Elle. Like he couldn't sense. 2 feet away. That's where the kids are. You're hiding them. Like it's the little inconsistencies that they seem to have done with a lot of these things, which like there's one big inconsistency for me that I'll save for the end that has to do with Will still being alive. But you would think Vecna would have known more than, like, he was very stupid in this finale. Where the fuck were the goddamn Demogorgons, motherfuckers? What the fuck, Duffer Brothers? What? Did you forget they exist? Whenever they sent 10 million Demobats after one little Eddie Munson, but no Demogorgons, nothing for a whole crew of people coming after you. Makes no sense. But hey, I don't make these things. I just bitch about them on the internet for no reason. So whatever.
Well, they know that I think they know that like the action and everything is going to run over people so fast that they're not going to stop to think about why does that scene not fit the scene before? Because by the time you formulate that thought, it's already like, here's Vecna tearing people apart. Then you're automatically on that, and you just kind of get.
I disagree because now we live in a day and time where a bunch of people like us will get on the internet, overthink all of this shit, and go, "What the hell were you thinking?"
Well,
how many
just
YouTube
because-
channels broke this down? You know,
The problem is despite the fact that we have a larger voice because of things like the internet, majority of people are not going to catch it. The vast majority.
maybe, I don't know.
Even all the stuff
speaking
that I
of
love
that-
to watch over and over again, I can pick all kinds of shit out of Star Wars. But it's like,
Oh, yeah,
like
of course.
and me and
Yeah.
Jeremy have talked
exactly
already
what
when the Obi-Wan thing came out. It's just like Leia didn't recognize Obi-Wan as the guy who saved her like 10 years earlier. It's like that kind of whatever.
Well, they had an adventure. They're just like, well, we don't have to flat out mention it. It's because obviously they didn't mention it in the original movies. That's not what. No, but for a Star Wars comparison, that's a good point. A friend of mine who kind of got a little bit more into Star Wars recently-ish, like more end of last year. I was like, in the same vein, it's like it should be kind of an insane thought that like in episode 2, right in the beginning, actually, when two of the most powerful Jedi Masters, probably at that point, you have Mace Windu and Yoda sitting next to each other, 5 feet across from the guy who is supposed to be the big bad.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it. I'm like, well, that should be like a clue to be like, damn, that's pretty insane that this guy is able to keep himself, masked from, again, all these. And I think even Obi-Wan and Anakin walk in the room after that. You know what I mean? You got a room full of Jedi, and they didn't even realize that the Dark Lord of the Sith was sitting right there in the same room with them. So, again, that seems kind of
Their
silly
minds
too,
were
what's the measure of
clouded by the dark side, as Yoda
That's
would say,
fair.
or some fuck thing.
Yeah, they didn't really know. It's not like they just, I don't know. Yeah. Same kind of thing.
Right.
That's like, that should be an insane tell that he's able to keep them in the dark. So,
Right.
but that makes a Callie's power level kind of ridiculous then. If I'm like, well, Henry didn't even notice that. So, I mean, maybe he was so focused on 11 because maybe that's where his focus was, but I don't know.
I wonder if maybe one of the reasons why they brought Callie back is like maybe they didn't realize how the show was going to end as they were writing that. What was
That's what I've been saying.
3? Like they didn't have a good handle as to how things were going to end. And they finally get to the end of it where they're starting to write season 5. They know it's the last season. They're like, hey, wait a minute. We can't just say that Elle has to die or they're not going to stop looking because there's already canon out there that says there's another gifted person out there that she can do all the same shit with. So we have to figure out.
Okay,
well, and that's kind of the whole reason why Callie was in this season because they're just like we can't really leave that loose end out there. So,
since we're here,
make her spin-off if we don't have her. You know what I mean?
Well, since we're here, I'll go ahead and ask the question. Okay, if we have to erase all ties, any DNA examples of Vecna, whatever, to be gone, like Elle and Callie have to die, right? Well, what about Will and those 12 other kids that he put his shit into? They're still fucking out there.
I think the idea is that they were not experimented on. So once Vecna and the Mind Flayer are destroyed, so is that connection that they had.
Well,
they were not experimented on
the
directly the way that Elle and Kaylee were. So,
and I mean that may be true, but Will spent what 7 days in season 1 in the Upside Down. He can directly rip off Vecna's power. God knows what those other 12 can do, which is probably one of their spinoffs. What that's going to be. But to me, that was another loose end. To me, that's the biggest loose end.
I get it. I get it that their connection to Vecna and the Mind Flayer is way different. So, like I said, they were not directly experimented on. There was no blood of Henry put into these kids or to Will the way that it was put into Elle and Kaylee. That's the big difference. That's the big difference. Is he does not have the blood of Henry running through him. He just happened to be connected because of his interaction with that side of that thing now being gone. He has no connection to anything in that universe. It's all been destroyed anyway. So even if he could try to dial it, you're getting a busy signal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I mean,
scientifically, it makes sense. Narratively, it makes sense. But yeah, I
can't remember which season. I think it was after season 2 or 3, where after right at season's end, the whole Will and all his crew left to California, and he didn't feel anything anymore. So that probably checks out what you're saying about the separation creates, a busy signal, but just narrative wise, you completely undermine the whole everybody who's been touched has to die if there's 13 other people still alive in the world that have been touched. But I don't know.
Not separation, the fact that it doesn't exist at all anymore, because once they blow the thing up at the end, there's nothing there anymore. So that severs any connection he had. And like I said, he wasn't directly experimenting on it, so studying Will wouldn't do any good for them anyway. So I get how it all works out. Again, you're talking about a few degrees of separation, but there are some pretty important degrees.
Yeah.
But let's go into now the whole thing with Hopper and the whole mind fucking with that happened with him. Believing Elle has been killed, Hopper fires at the tank, cracking it, forcibly ejecting everyone from the abyss. 11 does survive, but the group is expelled back into the real world. Max returns to her wheelchair, thus exposing her location where they were hiding to Dr. K as they arrive. Back in the lab, Hopper confronts Elle about her intentions when Callie holds him at gunpoint, but the standoff ends with Hopper delivering an emotional plea for 11 to have a life beyond violence and exploitation. I still don't know exactly why Callie kind of fell for this. I mean, she's the one that's always been so hardcore about we both have to die for this whole thing to work and blah, blah, blah. I don't understand why she, honestly, in the moment, it made more sense for her to shoot Hopper. That was my thought about the whole thing. I don't know. Jeremy, I'll go to you first. That was a pretty important scene, a lot of heavy dialogue. Some things are laid bare between Elle and Hopper. What do you think about how that scene played out?
I was still wondering when the hell Hopper dropped his gun, too, because suddenly it was just in her hands. I'm like, wait, when, what? Huh?
Don't ask those questions, Jay. You're asking you're asking logical questions about a fantasy movie. Just go with
It's
it.
super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Like, I know he dropped his radio because he saw the herbicide, and then he used the butt of the gun to break the glass open. But I was like, did he drop? I assume, I don't know, did he drop it? I guess he
would have had to. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was just wondering why all of a sudden, just next frame, boom, there she is with the gun. I'm like, when the fuck did you? What? Also, go away. God damn it. And I'm like, I've seen a show before. I'm watching Hopper have this like we said emotional heart to heart with Elle, and I'm like, I'm waiting for it to just end. He just fucking gets his head blown off. I'm like, because this little shit bag right here is gonna end up doing something stupid like that. Because even Hopper was like, good, kill me. Like, what's that gonna do? I'm like, yeah, fair. So, yeah, I don't know. That's weirdly, that's that moment that I guess she for some reason decided to turn heel. I guess kind of back the other direction. I don't know.
Got more heel turns and WWE Monday Night Raw on this sumbitch.
Yeah, no fucking kidding. Like,
yeah.
Next week's the cage match.
I'm a good guy. I'm a bad guy. I challenge you to Hell in a Cell. I'll see you at King of the Ring. All that fucking shit. Yeah, it's fucking everywhere.
Any weapon you choose. Yeah, like what the fuck? Okay.
Right. Steel cage match, motherfucker.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's more of the emotional weight. I get it. Like I said, we've been talking about. Everyone's got their motivations or reasons for why they're doing this and what they want out of this whole thing. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was more interesting that Hopper even tried to power play like Elle a little bit. Or see, the thing that annoys me about Elle is that it's every time throughout this series when the whole friends don't lie to each other thing. I'm like, yeah, it's friends don't lie to each other until you're allowed to do it. Because she keeps fucking. No one ever once calls her out on it because she does it to Mike. She does it to fucking everybody. But season 4, the beginning, she did nothing but lie to Mike. I'm like, right, but then why were you never you got on everyone else?
She completely reams Hopper's ass about wanting to off himself if need be. But it's perfectly fine if she does it. Like no problems, no issues whatsoever. Like that Millie Bobby Brown's I wouldn't classify her as a great actress. I mean, she's kind of wooden in her, and I know she's playing Elle, a emotionally stunted, science project, but she's not very expressive. She kind of has one mode, it seems like, but Elle was. I'm there with you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's one thing. I love that moment where Hopper does just kind of put his foot down as you got to promise me this, otherwise I'm not gonna hold up my end of this plan here. I'm not gonna do this, Because he's like, why don't you tell me the truth? And she's like, we don't have time for this. I'm like, no. You, like I said, you do this to everyone else all the time. Friends don't lie, but I'm like, you do it. Like I said, you did it for the first whole half of season 4. And I'm like,
well,
right,
this
you
is
never caught shit for it. So
that was just one of the many moments of this show where a woman was speaking down to a man about something. It happens basically every straight white guy in this show gets talked down to from, Rambo Nancy or whoever the hell it happens to be in that scene. It once again, it's another Netflix thing. They're kind of good at that.
No one talks down to Hopper because he's like 6'11" or some shit. So I don't know who's really doing that, because I think everyone is shorter than him in this whole series.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was good dialogue, but seriously, she has him at gunpoint. If she's that intent on making sure that both her and Elle end up going down with the ship, then the logical decision there is to shoot Hopper. Except for maybe you need him to kind of get to the end game.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was going to accomplish.
She looks kind of badass with a revolver in her hand, sure, but ultimately the decision she makes is the wrong one, in my opinion. But whatever.
I'm surprised they didn't have Callie open her jacket up at that point and show the C4 vest that Hopper had a few episodes before.
Ooh.
I was really shocked whenever I did. That would have been the perfect time to use that, because I think the last time we saw it was when Elle sees Hopper wearing it, on one of his crawls or whatever, and then it just kind of went away. I mean, what the hell happened to Chekhov's gun? Well, if you show it, you have to use it.
I think she saw it in the next episode, and they had an argument about it. But that was the last time you see it. That would have been an interesting callback, though. It would have been great foreshadowing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If she'd have been the one that was up there, but they already had the explosive device set up to blow everything up, so it would have been redundant. That would have been redundant too. So.
They could have still paid off the moment and have Callie not turn on them, but in that moment, and she's like, oh well, she's bound and determined to stop this. She has the revolver. She jerks open the coat, and she's got the vest underneath, but she changes her mind on using it. That could have been an effective storytelling bit, but they didn't pull the trigger on that.
You would have had to have rewritten a lot of the ending though for that to work.
Well, it's not like we didn't have an hour and a half fucking ending for the goddamn show or anything.
But
it's not like we didn't have that.
There has to be epilogue. I mean, you have to explain.
Epilogue.
That's what it's called. It's called the epilogue. That's the part of the story where you talk about how.
I know.
So you had to have. Now was the epilogue long? A little, but that's what happens when you don't let anybody die.
Well, we also said there's 25 characters in this damn show, so we all have to give them an ending. So.
Or you grow some balls and start killing some characters, Duffer Brothers, you bunch of pussies. But
you wouldn't have had to tie up as many loose ends.
They really should have.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. But let's talk about Henry going after the kids. Henry does actually chase the kids to the cave. And ultimately, he confronts the sphere and enters the cave. With Vecna close, Will is able to exert a little bit of control, using their connection to delay him and give the children a little bit of time to escape. Let's see. At the lab, the military launches an assault. Military destroys the helicopter with a grenade. Badass. Totally cool.
Hell yes.
Taking that whole thing. I don't know where I put that picture. That's not the right one. But yeah, that was pretty badass. Let's see. Callie is shot during the confrontation and collapses, left in critical condition. Going back and watching this scene again, I was a little confused as to how things played out. But we'll get to the ambiguity of the ending once we get to the ending. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think about this whole scene? The blowing up of the helicopter, Callie taking a bullet, kind of everything that could have gone wrong in that scene kind of went wrong. What do you think of that whole sequence?
Well, I mean, bravo for the 80s style helicopter blowing. That looked like something out of a fucking Terminator movie or some shit. That was fucking badass. But I mean, what? So, and this is something I hate about in a movie or a television show. You spend a whole season oh, this guy can't do this one thing. In this case, Henry Vecna cannot go in that cave, can't cross the line. And then it was, super easy, barely an inconvenience. All of a fucking sudden, he can just stroll right in like nothing. It would just poof, go, whatever.
He still had a hard time.
Yeah, he struggled with it. It was not easy. There is,
but
it's just he didn't really want to. Yeah.
Well, so okay, Max was in a 2-year coma in Henry's mind, right? It was 2 years. So Vecna knew whatever it was, for 2 years, he knew she was in there. For 2 years, he couldn't muster up the energy or the strength to do it. Then all of a sudden, right at that, to me, that's just cheap storytelling, very lazy writing.
It's risk reward. It's risk reward because there's obviously memories in there that he can't confront. Yeah, it's not just her. It's the fact that by going in there, he is going to make himself vulnerable. So even somebody with no powers like Max could walk up to him, kick him in the nuts, and it would hurt him. Because as he's walking,
he also knows she's not going to go anywhere, so she's in limbo.
Yeah, it's not like she's finding her doorway out and she's going to go give all his secrets away. She's stuck in there.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the nice things about a problem that's stuck is that problem is stuck. You can't go anywhere else and hurt you. It's just your problem. As long as it's tucked away there, neatly in the closet, stuff behind a bunch of other things, it can't really do anything to you. So sometimes,
maybe if Vecna was worried about being vulnerable, he might bring some of them fucking Demogorgons to Dimension X where they supposedly came from and keep them there with him at all times just in case something fucking
But again,
went down.
You're asking logical
crazy thought,
questions. You're asking logical questions about a fantasy story. Again, that's what I'm saying. You're asking logical questions about a fantasy story.
I think it's a fair question to ask if, we're worried about Mrs. fucking Wheeler. She gets 5 Demogorgons after her, but in entire Dimension X, there's not a one to be fucking seen. Somebody explain that shit. But yeah, I don't know if I understand what y'all are saying, but I still don't think it makes sense story wise. There should have been some sort of toll more than, oh, this is just a bad memory to me. Like I know why that scene has to happen because once again, that sets up another spinoff that they're going to do in, 5 years or whatever,
right.
Netflix has planned with their new show here. But it's just, to me, that felt very cheap, very lazy. And apparently most of the details you had to fly to, was it New York and London that had the live stage show that had all the details of all that fucking memory anyways? Like, I don't know, that kind of dumb Netflix. I don't know what y'all are doing here. Kind of stupid.
Well, that stage show is going to come to the U.S. eventually. They always do. So anybody who's interested
but
in
you
the
would think
story is going to be okay.
Right, but you would think something with as important as that plot detail is, they might have done it somewhere else besides on a live stage show in two places.
The live stage show does connect to the show, but I mean, as far as visually and story elements, the only thing that really connects that stage show to this show is that the play they're putting on the stage show, the play they're putting on.
It was an entire backstory.
Well, the play they're the backstory is a separate thing, though. That's something totally different. They've already said that the whole thing with the Rock, that while not very well explained in here, is going to be delved into more spin-off, and that the stage show doesn't really. It's just basically a loose. It serves as a prequel to everything else. Like that play that they're putting on in Henry's memory is the play that like a lot of the stage show is centered around. So it's a it's a piece of visual connection that just kind of connects the two. The stage show and this show aren't really that connected because they happen like 20 years. So that's what I've read.
Did Hopper or Joyce ever acknowledge that they knew Vecna within this finale? Because I don't remember them doing that. They
didn't. He was like 15 years younger than them. So while he's a kid running around this cave connecting with the Rock, they're actually in high school going through all that stuff. So they weren't even. They went to school together, though. No, they weren't in the same age group. Unless they
okay. Maybe I was wrong. I could have swore that they were in the same age I don't know. Either way, okay, whatever. I could be wrong. I'm not sure, but I don't know.
The way I got it is while they were in high school doing stuff is when little boy Henry was running around the cave in his Boy Scout uniform. So they're in a totally different age group. It's not beyond the reason. It's not beyond reason that they don't know each other. Now, granted, small town in the '60s, you kind of know everybody, but again, you're applying logic to a fantasy story. So
I could have swore that they were closer in age, and like whenever Max goes back to high school, Vecna, Hopper, and Joyce were all three there at the same time, but I guess I'm wrong about that. I guess I'll have to go back up and double check that, but I could have swore that's how it was. But either way, I guess I'm wrong. It's not.
Like I said, you're trying to apply logic to a fantasy.
I know. I know.
Kid, right? So
what's that, Jeff?
Well, hold on. Was he not?
He was grown whenever Elle was a kid.
That's what I'm saying. I said he was like a young adult when Elle was a kid, but then again, he was like a kid in the 50s. He probably would, well, I guess he would have been about in his 30s ish. I don't know. So this is what
I don't know.
Early 80s when that happened, like 82, 83 when we first see Elle. So
I think it was 82 whenever the first event happened, I believe.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure.
No, maybe they might be a little older than him. I don't know.
Yeah, it actually didn't let me put all the pictures on here, so I'm gonna have to add and subtract a few pictures.
It's almost like a show with 50,000 characters has a shitload of potholes in it, guys. That's crazy. The more we talk about this, the more we uncover.
There's crazy. There's plot holes.
Oh, I know. I'm just being a smart mouth. That's all good.
That's one of the reasons why I stopped even caring about plot holes. Is I'm just like, there's plot holes in everything. There's a lot of illogical shit in everything. That's one of the things like times where I just remind myself, I'm like, it's TV, it's a movie. Shut your brain off and stuff your face full of popcorn. That's the best way to do stuff like this.
Seems like you have to do that with a lot of media today. Of just be completely brainless, just utterly. It's crazy how that's happening more and more.
That's what it is now.
Yeah.
But let's see. I don't know a good picture to pull up for this one, so I guess we'll go back to Henry Living Drama. Elle uses her ability to move between spaces, join the others inside the abyss. The Mind Flayer appears in its full form, far larger than any previous incarnation, and boy, was it like one of the cooler incarnations. Let's see. The group realizes the cave sits within the creature itself. While Elle confronts Vecna inside, the others coordinate an attack from the outside, Nancy becoming the bait, drawing the creature's attention until Jonathan and the others intervene with a flamethrower and other weapons, because it's oh so easy to defeat a Mind Flayer for some reason. But fire weakens the Mind Flayer enough for the group to overwhelm it. Will maintains his role as a conduit, severing its control. Joyce delivers the final blow, decapitating Vecna as the children are freed. Boy, this happened. Boy, the way I read it, it actually sounds like it happened very quickly, but this took up a good probably 40 minutes.
Go ahead and play the clip because it fits here very well.
Which one? Super easy, barely inconvenience.
Yeah, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Yeah, it's like it was nothing. Yeah.
I do find it very easy that a bunch of kids with like a shotgun, there's like one M1A rifle and a couple of flamethrowers, and for some reason a flare gun manages to take down this giant monster dimensional spider. But anyway, it was fun to watch. You know what I mean? It was actually really cool to watch.
D&D shit. You all post up and you start chipping away at stuff. That's how it works. That's how D&D works. You just surround the fucker and curb stomp them to the best of your abilities.
Yeah, until Elle shows up and just goes all Leroy Jenkins on him. Leroy Jenkins. But that's where this is the final battle. This is the battle of the Death Star. This is kind of where everything starts to hit really hard, really fast. Jay, we finally hit that moment. Good guys versus bad guys. What do you think of the entire sequence? Did it wrap up the way that you wanted it to?
Sorry, I'm still texting. Hold on.
We're talking about Star Wars and why. Well, yeah, I am talking about Star Wars and why Kathleen Kennedy sucks. But goodbye, she's gone. So
we can have that conversation too.
Yeah, that's a podcast for a different day. Trust me.
Right.
I'll bring some champagne or something. We'll get wild.
Right.
or some blue milk, whatever the hell we do nowadays. Yeah, I mean it's because it is again. This does because I can pull from the fact that I've played D&D. This is what it feels like. It just kind of feels like you're like, man, am I really? Me and my group of like fucking misfit friends are about to try and take on this like demon from another dimension or something, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna go poke it with sticks. And I think it's the overarching
fucking flare
joke,
gun.
like,
What the hell?
well, no, but I mean, like the big joke is cast fireball. Everything is cast fireball. Just cast fireball at it. I'm like, that does work though. I mean, that's kind of the joke of why they always have flamethrowers, Molotovs. You, whatever they do, they put gas on it, mic flare, and it sets on fire. I'm like, yeah, that's the joke. That's always cast fireball. That's usually how it works. Just be aware of the size of the room you're in, so you don't torch you and all your friends at the same time, because that has happened. Or just don't be in the room when it happens. But that's kind of what it feels like, is that everyone's trying to bring, their not necessarily abilities, but they're bringing their fight all to this thing at the same time, trying to just chip away at it, and that's all you can do. It's like
fighting a boss in Dark Souls. It's a lot of dodge rolling and a lot of just chipping away at it till it dies. Keep stabbing a thing till it stops moving. And you weaken it to a point to where that's what I was when I was looking at that room, that picture you have of like Al just staring Vecna down. I was kind of looking at him like, there's a lot of sharp objects in this room.
Yeah,
not the one inside like his little mind flare. That picture. I'm like, just Al, throw his ass into one of those spikes, man. Just impale him or something. I don't fucking know. This kind of got like a Harry Potter thing, like with Tom Riddle. Like the more you stab the diary, it's all kind of connected to him, and the more you chip away at it, the weaker he becomes, and eventually you can kind of just whittle him down to nothing. And again, while narratively and poetically, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny that fucking. Oh, nice, good job, guys. See, cast fireball. It always works. For the most part. Like I said, again, it's kind of poetic that of course Joyce just gets the final kill, killing blow. Like I said, I've been there. I literally have in D&D started. I got the first hit of a boss battle. I was on my ass for the entire fight till I finally got healed, got up, and I actually did the final killing blow. That's my entire contribution to that fight. And I was like, I've been there. I didn't do shit the whole time, but I sure as hell just came up and poke, got him. We win, So that's kind of what that felt like to me. I'm like, but I get it. I'm working through Walking Dead with Rachel. There's a moment, and I won't really spoil it. No. When she comes up and she gets the F-bomb, I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, they're fucking with the wrong family. I was like, yeah, Walking Dead did that too, but I mean, it was kind of cooler. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have your F-bomb. I get it. So give it to Joyce before she lops this dude's head off. And even then, I was kind of like, yeah, that can't be it, man. Vecna's like not. He's not like the biggest bad of D&D, but he's up there. So I don't know. It feels like there still could be something.
Well.
That was it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was trying to remember this. Wasn't it? It was a speech that Eddie did in season 4 and this is one of the things all those conformity gate people were bringing up, where it talked about Vecna lost his hand in his eye or something, and that's one of their evidences of secret episodes are coming, and this was not the real ending, and yada yada whatever. But Vecna was you're the D&D guy. Isn't Vecna like the third general or some fuck thing or some whatever?
Yeah, I was about to look that back up because that's what I was trying
something
to
like that. I was trying because it was one of the scenes where Mike and all the crew joined the Hellfire Club, and Eddie was explaining. I want to say it was early season 4 where he talks about it, but I mean, obviously, poetically, yeah, it makes sense to see Joyce getting revenge on the demon that took her son away from her. I know why they did it. But doesn't story-wise it also make a little more sense? Maybe there have Will, okay. He just completely derailed the entire season with that bullshit speech that he gave an episode ago. Let's have him in here to do some cool shit. Have him and Elle team up and do some like speedball shit like in X-Men with Wolverine and fucking Colossus or something. Have them tag teaming their powers up to defeat Vecna. That's something that would have been thematically and show wise a lot more entertaining. And it's just having Joyce just. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go. I'm reading. I'm trying to get where
okay.
I got like the whole thing of the D&D big bads. Go ahead. Trying to find it.
Having George just whack his head off in 2 seconds and poof, ding dong, the witch is dead was just as exciting as, this is go back to fucking Halloween Ends. This is the final battle. We're going to see it. And they just slit Michael Myers' wrist and chunk him into a fucking meat grinder. Really? That's how you fucking do it? After all this time, Vecna's supposed to be the big bad of, this whole show. He's done all this damage and he gets impaled on his own spike tooth looking thing. And then Joyce goes, chopping for wood. Just very underwhelming, very disappointing. And considering they had another hour and a half, you couldn't expand on this. Once again, where's the Demogorgons? Give us some more fucking action here. What the hell? I don't know.
Well, the thing is, though, is Vecna is, and they explain it to him when they're having when Will's having that conversation with Henry. Henry's a vessel the same way as Will and the kids are. The big difference is that Henry has given himself to it, where other people who are vessels have. So thematically and story wise, narratively, he is the face of evil. So the Mind Flayer is where all of it comes from. But once they defeat the Mind Flayer, the only one that's left is his vessel and Vecna. So he's the last one that's going to die, kind of like Age of Ultron. Once they sever that connection between all the Ultron bots, there's only the one left. That leaves him to have that conversation with Vision. So it's really easy to say, well, he's just out there. Can't you just send yourself somewhere else? No, because narratively something has happened that has isolated that person. And it's the same thing that happened when he ends up impaled, is that the Mind Flayer that they're inside of dies, and the only person left with any connection to any of the evil is Vecna. So he's the last person to officially be dealt with.
He's weakened enough to where they can just kind of kill him.
Well, that's not even necessarily true now, because once again, there's 12 other kids and Will that have the fucking Mind Flayer shit in them. So technically,
not the same way. Again, you're making an assumption. They were not experimented on. They were the vessels. They were not experimented on, whereas Henry was experimented on. Not only that, but he handled the rock, which apparently went into the bullet hole in his hand. They're gonna go into that more in the spin-off series they're doing.
Technically, Henry goes into the cave. He gets a stone in his hand. Then we cut to all of his childhood shit that we saw in season 4, and then they start the testing program. So technically,
he's got a direct connection to the Mind Flayer.
No, I get that, but I don't know. I could make a case that you could still say that. I don't know. Well, technically, it really doesn't matter because both worlds are separated, so this whole conversation means nothing. But if you want to go one for one, I could make a case on that. I don't know, but it's dumb either way. Whatever.
No, he's got a direct connection to the Mind Flayer, so it makes sense why when the Mind Flayer dies that he's still there. It's all running through his blood. What were you going to say, Jay?
I've got the thing I'd found, I think, a few weeks ago, and I was trying to look for this.
It's a list of like the more iconic and high level villains from D&D. The first one that has Vecna, a lich who achieves godhood, master of secrets, undeath, forbidden magic. Asmodeus, who is the ultimate ruler of the 9 hells, which I was like, that's a big guy, really.
That's a cool name.
Devil,
I like that.
Yeah, Asmodeus. Like I said, he's the ruler of the 9 hells, so he'd be a big one to fight too. Archdevil, Lord of Tyranny, Deception and Contracts. Hold on, jeez. Demogorgons, Prince of Demons, embodying chaos, madness, destruction from the abyss, which we've seen that in the show. Tiamat, the Dragon Queen, a 5-headed goddess of chromatic dragons, representing greed and destruction. Lolith, who's the Spider Queen, the dark goddess of the Drow. Hey, that's what I am. I'm a Drow. That's cool.
So there's a lot of D&D stuff that they didn't even touch that.
Yeah, I'm like, this is just one of the big bads that are high up that they plucked out of.
They just chose Vecna to be their big bad then. That makes sense.
Yeah, because I was wondering because I was thinking like Asmodeus would be one who's maybe a little bit bigger than him. Again, being the basic, the ruler of all hell. So,
and I would imagine there are so many D&D characters you couldn't possibly have squeezed all of them by name into storyline.
Well,
without having to make 27 seasons over the course of 112 years, the way that they made the show.
What was that? That 3-headed dragon that Will saw a couple seasons ago when he drew it and put it on his wall or whatever. We never saw that thing either. Like, got brought up. I assume that's one of the D&D things, but I don't.
Yeah, like I said, there is Tiamat, who is the 5-headed goddess. There's the Dragon Queen. Maybe that's what that is. Stradvan Zarevich, Xanathar, Aesarak. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that last one. As if I didn't just do all of them right there. There's witches.
Sounds like you need to speak Latin to play this damn game. Jesus.
It's almost like there was a whole panic about it in the 80s. Something like that.
Right. Yeah.
God
forbid.
Vampire. I know. Yeah. Because we play some silly game, some silly fantasy game. They're in the parties. We're ruining the kids, as Eddie said.
We'll have our own little satanic panic at some point this summer. We'll point some cameras at the table and we'll play some D&D, and I'll get my first exposure to D&D for the first time in probably about 35 years. So I'm gonna I'll let Zach and Jeremy kind of work me over and make me a D&D master all in one night.
Like I said, that's the campaign we're doing right now. It's Zach's first time being a DM, so that's what we've been playing. That's
there you go.
Oh my god!
But moving. Go ahead.
I'm just playing a new character I've never tried before, which I realize is actually closer to me in real life, which is really weird. Playing a ranger, I'm like, I'm basically the Boy Scout of the group. I'm like, well, I did do that, so I'm Nature Boy apparently.
I was Boy Scout.
Yeah, I was like, I'm Nature Boy essentially. That's what a ranger is. I'm like, that's actually more closer to real life. I don't know why I keep playing a rogue. It's because I like to sneak and I like to stab things and steal stuff. So, but that's D&D for you.
Anyway.
I know, never. I would never do something like that.
Now, just when you think that the final battle has happened and there's no more bad guys to deal with, the group is escaping back towards the gate. The bomb has been set to destroy the dark matter, or whatever the hell they call it, the chaos energy or something like that. But they end up getting to the gate to find out that Dr. K is waiting. Elle remains behind, carrying out Callie's plan. A final goodbye between Elle and Mike plays out before an explosion rocks the upside down and takes out the dark matter. Again, kind of at this point, nobody had died, so I was just like, I feel like something's got to give here. We had that nice little moment of levity for the ride back with all the kids and everything in the back of the truck, and then obviously as they're coming out of the gate, they hit some spike strips. Hobbles their vehicles. They're ambushed by the military. Obviously, they're still looking for Elle and or Callie. And this is where Elle's decision finally comes to fruition. She understands that there is nothing left to do but take away the one thing that they are chasing after. It was fun to have that little moment of levity. That little, they were playing Prince. Purple Rain was going. It was a very feel-good 80s moment, only to be dashed away by the fact that there is that one greedy bastard in the military that still wants to get a hold of all this power. I'll go to you first, Tex. It was the moment that they're all kind of waiting for. Elle has to decide whether she's going to get out or not. How did you think this? What do you think of how the scene played out? Did it work out well for you that Elle, quote unquote, died? And we'll talk about the other stuff here in a minute.
Yeah, this scene I think is the most interesting plot-wise to me, because go back to the moment where right before they run over the spike strips, Mike, like we see him looking at Elle, and then he's like waving, and then we see dipshit Derek waving back at him like Derek sees Mike. And obviously we know Kari is doing her fucking thing, whatever. I don't think Elle ever got in that truck. I don't think that ever fucking happened. Now, I know this is a big conversation that people have been talking about all fucking month, but I like how this scene played out because of it. This is why the whole conformity gate thing is so massive, because is Elle alive? I personally think she is. But they've left it open so many ways. Fuck, you can go just I'm sure Jeremy would know this more than me. Just like with a game of D&D, you can go any way you want to with it right now. You choose your path, kind of thing. And I think that was done intentionally. One, because it keeps interest, and two, the Duffer Brothers couldn't decide on an ending, so they gave you multiple.
I don't know, Jay. What do you think? Again, this is the moment of truth. Was she going to live or die? She makes her decision. How do you think this played out, and would you have done anything different?
It's again a lot of build up, a lot of an emotional moment. Because I thought, as we'd said, I'm like, if anybody was going to go down with the ship, I really thought it was going to be Elle. And I thought, damn, that's shit. That's where the hell it's going to go. And I mean, yeah, like Tex said, I'm like, there's always something. It's like we say about comics. Death doesn't mean a damn thing. It really doesn't. So I don't know. Like maybe there's some outs. Maybe there's something. Yeah, I'm like, even if she does die, I'm like, there might be something around it. Because she does say, like, I'll always be with you. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, you vague fuck. What does that mean? Yeah, because I thought, okay, this is one hell of a build up for her to, take the upside down with her. So okay, damn, like I thought I thought finally if we're gonna do something ballsy, I'm like, yeah, but narratively it made sense to me. So cool, that's insane. They did have that whole the soldiers pointing the Sonic the Hedgehogs at the I'm still gonna call them that. I swear to God that's what they called them. I swear that's what they called them. Like I was like, what? You guys are. I'm like, okay. I appreciate the references, but you guys are about 10 years too early.
They called them that, and then they called them what? Elle's Kryptonite or whatever. Wasn't that what they called them?
Yeah. I mean, like Kryptonite's been a thing, but I was like, Sonic's not been a thing yet until like the fucking early 90s. So.
I didn't think Sonic came around with the Sega Genesis, I think, and that was in the 90s. Yeah,
that was 90s. Yeah,
that was 90s. Yeah.
Well, then again,
plot hole, Frank. I found another plot hole. Cancel the whole fucking show. This is bullshit.
Well, I was gonna say I'll feed him another one. Remember that episode where Mrs. Wheeler does the laundry? I was like, wow, somebody has seen Jurassic Park before. They're all huddled up right there, and the Demogorgons and the Raptors. I was like, okay.
Not to jump too far ahead here, but Mrs. Wheeler had a hell of a plastic surgeon to get rid of them fucking scars too. Holy shit!
Oh, she still has
but
did she though? Did she though?
A makeup artist, because goddamn, like she still got messed up.
Plastic surgery had only come so far by 1989. So let's give him a little bit of grace on this one, okay?
That's all I'm saying. Hollywood is calling for that doctor today. Like, look, my goodness, it's crazy. Whatever. So.
Where was that damn? Where was that picture you just had? Oh, I see it.
Miss Wheeler.
We finally got my boy back. There's Ted. Ted Wheeler
I was gonna mention that when we talk about the epilogue too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See,
you already pulled it up. I'm like, God damn it, there's Ted.
Finally.
I was hoping for one scene with Ted Wheeler be like, you cheating whore, here's your divorce papers. I know you tried to fuck that, Max's brother over there, get the
Billy.
fuck out of my house. Yeah, we're trying to bang Billy or whatever. I was hoping for justice for Ted Wheeler. That man didn't deserve none of the shit that he got. But they ate all his bacon. His wife screwing around behind his back. He almost dies and nobody cares. Justice for Ted Wheeler, man. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Get in.
I agree.
No, what was I? Oh, the song with the hedgehog. It seemed like they were just like pointing him at all like the kids and everybody like this way. I'm like, she's back there, guys. What the hell are you pointing at? Like, you know what I mean? You see, like from Mike's point of view, he's like looking around. They see all the Sonic things pointing towards them. I was like, Al's behind you in the gate. What are you looking at? So I still don't really understand narratively because I thought about that too. I was like, well, wait, how is this happening? If those things are going, how is she doing that? I again already forgot about Callie because I couldn't really care any less.
Nope.
Yeah, I was like, sure, whatever. Because I was wondering how she was able to do that, have that moment with Mike, and then just peace out. So I don't know. I thought it was gonna if anything was gonna happen, somebody was gonna be the one who takes the bullet here. Was Elle. So, but like I don't know. Maybe it didn't happen. Really, did it? I don't know. Fucking spinoffs. Woo. Whatever.
Yeah, I have a few narrative issues with this scene, but I'll go ahead and get to some
Just
of them
a
now.
few.
Yeah, a few.
No. You like
But,
the 80s Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince. However you want to talk about it.
Hey,
I do like Prince's music though. I am a fan. I will say that.
I did not
Prince is
understand
badass,
I did not understand the selection of Prince. I think Butthole Surfers would have been a much better choice. I disagree with Robin on this one vehemently, but
with Robin, yeah.
But you can never really go wrong by using a Prince song in anything. Which I'll get into why it's strange here towards the end of this review because I don't want to get into it now. But the first part I loved is to watch a character sacrifice himself for the greater good, the good guy sacrifice himself for the greater good, is always a really cool thing to see because if done well, it is like fine poetry. It's done well. I think this scene does it. What makes it even better is and more emotional and more hard hitting is when the character has to explain their decision to somebody in the moment. So who is she going to explain it to? Well, it could have been Hop. Having it be Mike makes more sense because there is the love that exists between them, the romantic relationship. I love the fact that we got that moment of her trying to say, "Hey, look, this is the only way it can be. I need you to help them understand. I can't be there to help them understand. I need you to help them understand my decision." Even he's just like, I'm not understanding this myself. I'm not processing this because I'm still 17 years old and a teenager and emotional and hormonal. And I don't know what the fuck's going on in the world anyway. But I love that moment where that person tries to explain their sacrifice because there's so many people that wouldn't get it. So that to me is fantastic. And the whole shot of her, standing there right before she de-reses. I was just like this. I thought the moment was starting to drag a little bit, and then I kind of realized I was just like, "This is the moment. Let it breathe. Let it happen. Let people get washed over by it. Let people get absorbed." So at the end of the day, and like I said, I watched this again for the second time yesterday, and by the time I got done watching, I was like, I do think that scene was shot with. I think the editing, the pacing of that scene actually was ultimately as good as it could have been. As they slowly zoom in on her face, and then she just kind of like wipes away. I was just like, that was one of those moments where I was holding my breath waiting for it. And then it finally happened. And I was just kind of like, holy shit, that's insane. That's crazy. It was only to be, and so much emotion in the moment. Where's the one picture I had of Hop? God damn, I moved all these fucking pictures around trying to make room for more. And I kind of, and like the look on Hopper's face, I was just like, Jesus, that is just raw. Fucking the guy that plays Hopper. Goddamn,
David Harbour.
David Harbour. As much as I love him as an actor, he's a nutbag in real life. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Newsroom from forever ago. That's one of the first things I saw.
Doesn't he have a lot of substance issue problems, from what I've heard?
No, he's bipolar, and I'm not going to crack on him for that because I know people who struggle with that, and for the most part, they do.
Oh
well,
yeah.
He's struggled with that his whole life. I just think he's kind of a liberal nutbag, but that's kind of its own.
Well, that too. Yeah. That's.
But
Yeah.
but the way he played this scene, I was like, holy shit, dude. This is some of the best I've seen him act in the moment. Because a lot of times, this is one of the reasons why I'm glad I never became an actor. There are some scenes, some kind of emotion I would have to convey that I know I would not be able to do convincingly. I know I could never do a convincing death scene unless you wanted it to look stupid, because I kind of look stupid. But I mean, a raw emotion like this, I mean, his reaction right here is visceral. It's real. I love the fact that they didn't play the volume too high, that you kind of hear him react, but it doesn't overrun the rest of the sound in the scene. It's very subtle. That whole scene was shot amazingly. And again, I had pictures of all the people reacting, but I can only fit so many pictures on here. But yeah, it was so damn good. That the whole scene was done good, only to be ruined by the fact that apparently here's where I kind of lost it a little bit. I was kind of like, I was trying to process things in the moment, but I'm going over what I had seen in the last 20 or 30 minutes of screen time, and I'm like, wait a minute. When Callie gets shot, they leave her in the room, and she is apparently dead. Her eyes are closed and everything. So while she does have that where she looks at Elle and says, "This is my end, but it doesn't have to be yours," by the time her and Hopper leave the room, she's laying there with her eyes closed. We go into this explanation later on, and I'll go ahead and get to this now. And suddenly we've had this big conversation between Elle and Callie, where they've come up with this grand plan that Elle's going to sneak out, still not going to be affected by this sonic death ray or whatever the hell, not to be affected by it. She's going to She's gonna manage to fight that and sneak out while Callie has given her the cloak of invisibility, apparently, and she's gonna. I was like, I think kind of
Spelliamus.
I don't like it when look, Marvel's been doing this to me. It's been pissing me off. It's when characters die, when they're end, bringing them back 5 minutes later through some stupid sci-fi. It ruins the effectiveness of that moment. So Tony dying at the end of Endgame was emotional. It was so rich, so well done. If they would have brought Tony back the next movie and been like, "Oh yeah, that Tony's dead, but because we can travel time and travel through dimensions now, we're just gonna get another Tony, and he's gonna come here and be Iron Man now." It's like that would have been like, that totally ruins it. Like all these people that want all the Spider-Men to come back, I'm like, that completely ruins how great it was.
They're just bringing him back to kill him off again. How many times have they killed poor Professor X? About 20 by now. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
That's all they do.
It's like fucking Chris Evans goodbye, handing the shield over to Sam. That was a great moment where his arc has been completed. His circle has closed.
Should have been Bucky.
And it whatever. I mean, his circle has closed at that point. So bringing them back, it ruins those moments. And I feel like it ruined that moment a little bit by trying to explain away the fact that it was all a fucking visual trick done by Callie. But that also depends on whether you actually think it was a visual trick done by Callie. Let's get now to the old 18 months later nonsense. Actually, no picture marquee. 18 months later, Hawkins has returned to normal. The military presence is gone. Steve is coaching baseball. Let's see. Max has recovered fully.
Teaching sex ed.
Teaching sex ed.
With a sweet ass pickup truck that I fucking want. God, I love that fucking truck.
The group graduates. Yeah, here's where did I had the picture of the truck. What did I do with it? Did I not load it in yet? Anyway,
I'll
put it up.
Good old.
I agree with
80s.
I love those square body trucks. But
gorgeous.
The group graduates from high school, although Mike remains visibly affected by Elle's disappearance. Hopper reconnects with Mike, urging him not to define his life by loss. Something that he did, obviously. Nancy works at the Hawkins Herald, echoing her earlier ambitions. Joyce and Hopper finally go on their long-delayed date, which ends up in a proposal, and a possible move to, of all places, Montauk, the original setting the Duffer Brothers had first developing the series.
I caught that too.
I mean, that's
the spinoff I want, by the way.
Let's talk about. Let's kind of break this down a little individually. Here's the picture. That square body.
Oh, baby.
So
I've got a 74 sitting in my house right now.
The bromance of Steve and Dustin is alive, and if any two characters are going to live through this and go on to be best buds for life, those two are the ones that are probably the most satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Steve didn't lose the Beamer; he upgraded to a square body Chevy. By God,
right.
like every good American should. All right, just say, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there's. Obviously, Robin ends up. She's going to Smith College. She shows up back at the Squawk to do a little bit of DJing while she's there. Stephen Dustin's bromance obviously is going to continue. The Wheelers, thankfully, they have survived their interaction with the Demogorgon, especially Mr. Wheeler. Justice for Mr. Didn't even get a closing line. Really annoyed the fuck out of me, but I'm like, whatever.
They should have had him
one
eating bacon.
One more one-liner zinger from him. Come on.
No, I mean, he should have had a handful of bacon at that graduation because he didn't get any at the beginning of the season. That's what should have happened.
God damn it.
Obviously, like I said, the obvious proposal for Hop and Joyce are now going together. Max and Lucas, obviously, they with Max being fully mobile again, back to skateboarding. Her and Lucas have picked up kind of where they left off. There is a monument to all the people that were lost in the, quote, Great Earthquake of March 27th, 1986, which is great cover-up stuff. And then Will goes and gets attacked by Jeffrey Dahmer in the 90s in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's in Jeffrey Dahmer's freezer as, a Dahmer Twinkie, as I refer to them. But,
yeah, for in all honesty, if everybody is going to survive, I just want them all to have happy endings. That's just kind of where it needs to be. All except for that filthy communist Will and his, anti-capitalist film, blah blah blah. Fuck you, motherfucker. Go back to fucking Russia, you piece of shit. Asshole. That's how all the liberal do-gooder leftover hippies were talking.
Yeah.
I knew a couple people when I was growing up in
How
California.
much money are you making a year with that fucking art degree, asshole? Yeah, do you want large fries with that? Yes, I fucking do. Go to hell.
You know what ended up happening is he probably ended up being like the next great sci-fi director of the 90s. Because that's exactly the places where guys like J.J. Abrams came from. But
well, considering this is also the same character that got cucked out to a unproposal, what kind of pussy ass motherfucker are you? First of all, he's trying to marry Rambo over here that punks at everybody in the group, and it's somehow he was gayer than Will. I don't know even how, but he was, and it just makes no sense to me. Hated that guy.
Yeah, he was kind of soft. I did not get a picture of Mike sitting down at his typewriter writing his book. But so I'll use this picture. Obviously, Mike goes on to be a writer. You see him at the end of the show. He's typing in his on his typewriter. God knows what he was typing. It doesn't say what he was writing, but I assume that it was yarn based on his experiences. I mean, of all, I'll start with you, Tex, since you're very adamant about all this, the way it ended for everybody. What did you think of the way it ended for everybody? And was there one that fit them? Which one fit the most for you, and which one was the most annoying?
Well, the one that fit the best and the one that I liked the best was Steve's, because Steve was always the babysitter of the group. So it's only fitting that he ended up taking care of kids going on and being the baseball coach and driving the badass pick 'em up truck and everything else. I loved that ending for him. I thought that fit. He wanted like 6 kids and whatever, right? That's what a guy like Steve would end up doing. Steve would end up, he wanted a Happy Meal or whatever they called it. But his ending fit the best. Out of all those, like the rest of them are kind of whatever. The ending to me that they didn't address was, okay, the Great Earthquake. How do they plan to keep this quiet with a town full of fucking people? Not to mention all of the people that saw at the end of season 4, hell come from the middle of the earth, and then they drove out of town. How does the government expect to keep all of that quiet? That was the ending to me that never got addressed, and I think could be addressed in a future series, because that's the biggest plot hole to me that didn't get answered. Did that bother either of y'all?
It didn't bother me because in the 80s it was easier for the government to lie to people because there was still a lot of
that's probably what it was.
There was still a lot of the government said so trust the government. That was still prevailing wisdom back in the late 80s. Also, I'm sure they threw a lot of money at Hawkins, and when they're throwing you a lot of government subsidies, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot what the hell happened with what is it, Vecna? It doesn't ring a bell. Now give me my my public assistance check.
What was the nurse's name? Robin's girlfriend. I can't remember what her name was. Vicky. She's been in Hawkins. She's seen all this shit go down. She thinks Robin's fucking nuts because dragons and dungeons and blah, 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 and whatever. How are you that fucking oblivious? How are you that blind to not see the crazy shit going on? Like, even if you didn't see all of it, like, you would have had to have been, if you're not completely oblivious, had to have seen something. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, some people.
I don't know.
I think also in a Midwestern small town back in the 80s, a lot of these people just probably wanted to get past it. I mean, because look, there's been things that have happened in small towns that everybody in the town knows about, but nobody talks about. Tex,
no, I get that. Yeah, I'm in a fucking small town. Dude, if fucking stranger things happen in my town, some motherfuckers will be fucking talking at the fucking feed store and shit. I'm telling you that shit's gonna go the fuck around. It's just that, all of the other happy little endings. Dustin goes off to college. Mike writes Stranger Things, the board game, the knockoff of D&D. All of those are fine, whatever. Like I said, Steve, to me, his ending was good, but the glaring ending which I think, you could do in Stranger Things, the next generation, something could be touched on that. That to me is that, and I love what Hopper has with Montauk, because I'm a fucking conspiracy nut, and holy shit, they take his ass. Well, that's what I'm saying. Could you imagine like an X-Files type show with fucking Hopper and fucking Montauk? Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Sign me the fuck up right now. Netflix will have my money, please.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you could have Hopper and Joyce and not have other people involved. And on top of that, the Duffer Brothers have said that there are no plans to do anything else with the characters that have been in the series, and that the spinoff is going to not have effect. It's not going to have anything to do with any of them. It's going to have something to do with some of the thing that happens somewhere in the story of the craziness. So whatever. I mean, do I believe them? Maybe, maybe not, because one of these days someone's going to say, hey, here's a blank check with a one. As many
didn't the Duffer Brothers, they just signed a huge deal with Paramount, so that we could get Stranger Things without the Duffer Brothers because Netflix owns it.
Yeah, but theoretically,
I mean?
But I don't know what's all worked in the contract, so maybe not.
I don't know.
Bottom line is, if it happens, it's going to be on Netflix. But just because they signed a development with Paramount doesn't mean that everything Stranger Things is going to move over to Paramount. That just means that they're getting a first.
Oh no,
that they put out is going to be on Paramount.
I would assume Netflix owns the rights to the Stranger Things brand. I would assume, but
probably. I don't know, but I don't know. Jeremy, what about you? Which one of these final outcomes for all these people did you like the most, and which one do you think was the
I think my favorite one was finally Joyce and Hopper getting their dated Enzos and finally getting
that was nice.
Getting together, doing their thing. And again, I caught the name drop of Montauk. I'm like, yeah, that's
my ears perked up on
originally. Yeah, that's what the show was originally going to be called, and they called it Stranger Things. But it was all based off the Montauk shit from New York. So I was like, maybe it's just a funny Easter egg. But yeah, that was the final. That was a fun final closure for the two of them. When I was trying to think back on it, the only people who did actually get a happy ending were like Joyce and Hopper, Max and Lucas, and then like Will, kind of. So
Well,
because
until
like I
they got
said, Mike
fucked over
doesn't
by
have Elle
Jeffrey
anymore.
Dahmer.
And fucking everyone else just kind of did their own thing, I guess. My other thing was, I'm like, one that I didn't like. I know, I guess Dustin did get a happy ending. He did his little fucking Eddie Jr. on stage.
Hellfire Lives, yeah.
God damn it, yes. Like that was, I mean, if my favorite moment was definitely Dustin doing his fucking thing with doing some Hellfire Lives. He did Eddie's thing. He was like, I'm gonna walk up to Principal Gibbons, I'm gonna snatch that diploma, flip him the bird. I'm like, yeah, he did it. My only issue with that is I'm like, where the hell was Susie? You could have maybe at least brought back Susie to be with
Oh
Dustin.
yeah. Never ending story,
Oh, damn
chick.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. You could have.
There's another spinoff Netflix is gonna have to spend 10 years on the make. You know, the Dustin and Susie story. There's another show.
Can't. No, let that never ending story moment live in its moment. Let it exist just in its particular spot in the universe. You're never gonna top that moment.
I need 5 seasons of Dustin and Susie just singing 80s fucking theme songs. Make it happen, Netflix. Let's go.
Well, he had the hot chick hit on him at graduation too in this episode. The one
that is true.
At the dance a couple of seasons ago, came up to him, invited him and all of his buds to a party at her house. So
he was like, Susie who? What? What are you talking about?
Susie to the popular 80s high school girls. So
there you go. Yeah.
The only other thing that really confused me was I was like, we brought Vicky into the fold, and she saw the raging Cujos, as she pointed out. I'm like, I appreciate your reference, but also I'm like, where did Vicky go? All of a sudden, did I just miss something? Like Robin just came back and she's gone, or what the fuck?
Well, wasn't she?
She witnessed this stuff. Like
she was talking about on the roof about controlling partners and shit. Did they finally fucking break up like the lesbians tend to do? That they relationship pretty quickly.
I read something
I
about
assumed
it.
as they broke up.
I read something about it. I think the Duffer Brothers said that their relationship had ended. They didn't really say anything else, so it's just like that Vicky was no longer.
Sure.
I think they were probably looking at it and they were like, we don't want to have to explain where this chick went. Let's just say they broke up and she went away. We'll make it easy.
You did experience this shit.
True.
Same thing with Argyle. You just kind of just been like, oh yeah, he's gone. What? Where? I don't know. I'm like, no. Okay. Sure.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know if there was one particular satisfying ending. I mean, for one, the Wheelers are still alive. That's good. I do like the idea. Mike struggling the way he is with all this. There had to be one person I think that was kind of very retrospective and even a little introspective about this whole thing. And I think we lost text for a minute. But I love the fact that Hopper had to sit and have this conversation, mostly because Hopper is the one who has already kind of walked his path. So he, with his daughter,
give the sage advice.
Yeah. So he's the one that's like, look, you can't carry this kind of thing around forever. It's not going to do you any good. And this is, like I said, Hopper's been there. There's this old story from West Wing that I really love. It's like a guy finds himself down in a hole, and people walk by and they say, hold on, I'm going to go get help. And then another guy walks by and he says, hey, I'm trapped in this hole. So the guy jumps down the hole with him. And then the guy looks at him and goes, why'd you jump down the hole? Now we're both trapped here. And the guy goes, yeah, but I've been down here before and I know how to get out. And that's Hopper's place in all this. Is he's going to stop Mike from spending decades in his own head and heart trying to figure out shit that he's never going to figure out, or that he's never going to get the answer to, going to help him. He's going to be the one that tells him, you just need to move forward as best as you can with this person's memory in tow and do what you're going to do. The one that always gets me, I mean, come on, the Duffer Brothers didn't know that in the 90s in Milwaukee, what was going on?
Did they say he went to Wisconsin?
Yes. When I watched it the first time, I was like, did I hear that right? And as I was watching it last night, I paid very close attention where it says, and when he's breaking down all the places where these people go, he goes, and Will goes to Milwaukee where he's going to find acceptance and blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, do you guys really not know what was happening in Milwaukee in the 90s? That's when Jeffrey Dahmer
late 80s, early 90s. Yeah.
I was like, really? Did you do that intentionally? Because I wonder if it was intentional or not. they make they make the Montauk name drop where Hopper's like, hey, got a friend of mine upstate New York in Montauk wants to know if I want to be the chief of police up there, and that's a pretty specific reference. I have a tough time not thinking that they were just like, oh, we're just going to pick out a place. Oh, instead of San Francisco, where the gay culture has been thriving for the last 50
I was like,
years,
that would have been better.
Let's
You went to California already, Will.
Let's go to Milwaukee. It's like, you know what's happening in Milwaukee, right? In the 90s, you know what's going down there, right? But
there's this guy named Dahmer.
There's this guy named Jeff who's causing all kinds of fucking chaos amongst the closeted gay community in Wisconsin. But whatever.
I would think Milwaukee's maybe a big enough city, but I'm like, still, that's a little bit yikes.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't be the only one that heard that and was like, wait a minute, what was happening in Milwaukee?
I completely missed. I didn't even catch that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but somebody else probably heard that. And we're like, wait a minute, Dahmer was doing his thing. Is Will going to make it out of Milwaukee? It would make sense that Will would survive battles with Demigorgons and Vecna and Mind Flayers.
I think he could handle Dahmer.
Only to be whacked by a serial killer in Wisconsin. You know what I mean? That would just be terrible. Be terrible, right? That's a terrible ending. But let's hope that he made it out alive. Yeah. The other one that gets me, come on, she's been in a coma for 18 months, and
I know everyone's been on their fucking ass about like she didn't go to school for like 2
years. Somehow she graduated with her class. I mean, granted, 18 months went by from the ending from the final battle to graduation. So maybe in 18 months she did some summer school. Maybe she picked it back up. I don't know.
I mean, they know she was in a coma. It's not like she just didn't show up. Like, she couldn't have done anything about it. They probably helped her out and get there.
True, but still, that's kind of funny to me. But I was pretty happy with the way everything ended up with everybody. But and I'm bummed that Tex isn't coming back just yet, or that he's not back, because we have to ultimately ask the question: is what about Elle? I mean, now let's I don't know. Let's give our theories as to what was really happening. Jay, go ahead. I mean, is she alive or dead? And what do you think? What do you think is why?
There's so many times, and I've mentioned them throughout these reviews, that you keep building up these big moments of like, a character dying, only to just be like, yeah, but just kidding though. I'm like, if you're gonna keep cheapening the blow every time, I'm like, I'm not really gonna fall for it. I'm still in the moment, like, I'm like, oh damn, this stuff could you could make a really huge narrative choice here, and then you don't. And I'm like, well, we all thought Hopper was dead there for a minute, and then like conveniently he wasn't. He was apparently about to just off himself again, and then he didn't. He had a gun pointed at him, and he didn't die. I'm like, okay, right, but at one of these times, I'm like, unless you come out of left field with something, then, holy crap. I still think that's the reason why Callie was there, because, like we said, they got to a point where they're like, yeah, but this is our ticket out. And we're like, oh yeah, that was a thing, and we didn't. I thought it was an interesting point by like season 2. I was like, oh, okay. We have all these other people that are loose out there that have powers. So, what do we do with that? I think it's a big enough plot hole to not sit there. But then to just bring her back, and then she just gets shot, and they're like, yeah, but she totally like mind tricked everybody, and Elle just apparently hiked all the way to fucking Sweden, or where the fuck, I don't know where that's at. Somewhere.
Someplace with 3 waterfalls. That was
There's 2 in that shot. I would like to fucking point out there were 2 in that shot.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I thought we were up by the 3 waterfalls.
Unless that's the big mystery. Ooh, I don't know. I thought there was like one when there's that wide shot, and like when she gets that like the crest of like that cliff. There's 2 more. I was like, sure. I don't know. I do like that they kind of tie in the because I figured if anything too, I like the ending of it. It ends with them all playing a game of D&D, which is what I thought would kind of happen, and they kind of use that to explain like, oh yeah, there's the mage, which is obviously a reference to Elle. And Mike kind of lays out that story where I'm like, I don't know if is he telling a story, or is he like he apparently just knows the entire, like we're just watching Elle walk somewhere as he's explaining like, oh yeah, she went somewhere new to start a new life. I'm like, okay, but did she, or are we telling stories? I don't know. because you interlace it with the fact that he goes on about like, here's what Dustin's doing, here's what Max, Lucas, Will, everybody. I'm like, okay, I don't know. It's a way out. There's a spinoff, even though they're not doing anything with any of these people because they're all like in their 40s now or whatever the hell. So I thought the cool thing was that like after they all put their books away and Mike goes up the stairs, his younger sister and all her friends and even dipshit Derek all run down and they start playing D&D. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's kind of a nice like mirrored image of like there's your almost like your original cast again, like from when they were kids. All do and like Mike's looking down on them like kind of having a proud moment of like, yeah, now they're doing their thing. There's your spinoff right there. I don't fucking know. if we get more dipshit Derek, I would love that.
Yeah, Vecna comes back and starts, fucking around with these kids now.
And Derek can just keep screaming about sucking his fat one. So I mean, he would kind of be the Dustin, I guess. To be fair, I don't know. It was a nice little ending.
Yeah,
I know it's done for spinoff bait and crap.
I am certain that Elle is dead and that Mike told that story to kind of because
he tells himself maybe like he's okay with it, like Hop said to do.
It's in one way and another way to help spread that better feeling amongst his friends. That's kind of what I
give them the closure too. Yeah.
So maybe like we all know that she's dead, but maybe in our minds with our D&D backgrounds, we can imagine that, instead of the game ending, which I think a lot of it was about the game ending as well, because this is one of those coming of age moments where, they're going to go their separate ways, go to college, get jobs, whatever. And they're never going to exist in this place the way that they have existed all their lives. Like this is that point in life where you go your separate ways. You're lucky if you meet up with your friends at reunions or whatever. That's a tough thing to wrap your head around. I mean, I deal with it myself, but I think one of the reasons why he went through all that was to kind of let all of his friends know that everything was going to be okay. Like
he did write the happy ending. Like 11 said, like this isn't D&D.
Yeah, that even though this is going to be a significant change for all of them, it's all going to work out in the end. So I think it was that. Now, here's what the ending does to me. We live in this day of legacy sequels. You're going to go 5, 10, 15 years, and eventually somebody's going to be like, hey, you know what? Stranger Things was really popular 15 years ago. Maybe we should try to do another limited series or a movie or some kind of other idea. Maybe the Duffer Brothers are struggling with some of their projects. They're like, hey, you know what? Maybe we go back to Stranger Things because that was a winner, right? So this ending was just ambiguous enough to where it can be a solid ending on its own, but it leaves the door cracked open if they need to go in it again.
Wait. Does it leave the door open 3 inches?
It does. It left the door open 3 inches. Maybe not quite 3 inches, because we don't want to see what's behind. We don't want to see what's going on the other side of the door, at least not yet.
Yeah.
We don't want to know if they're making out, at least not yet. But I think that what it does is it works itself as a solid ending, but it does leave that little thing there to where if they want to go back, they can say, oh, well, Mike explained it all as to what happened. Callie helped her escape, blah, blah, blah. Because in reality, look,
maybe that didn't even happen. Maybe she did die.
Maybe because Kay is still out there. General Kay is still out there. I don't imagine she's
that was another thing.
I don't imagine she's just going to look at Elle, get de-resed away, and then be like, oh, that's it, on to the next project, and then just walks away and leaves. The military might, but she's probably not somebody who's like that. Another thing I wanted to point out, and I didn't get a chance to point this out earlier, they very badly underused Linda Hamilton. I mean, I saw them kind of slow. They slow rolled her character in the first volume, and I was like, okay, I get it. But towards the end, God, they did not use her right at all. She's not in scenes that she should have. She should have been, other than Vecna, she should have been in almost every scene. She should have been that one person there making things difficult for fucking everybody. They did not utilize her enough. You got Linda Hamilton.
I think that I think that dipshit soldier with the stupid bowl cut got more fucking time than she did. And I was like, dude, I'm tired of seeing your face. Can you go?
Yeah, I would rather than have cut out that little part about him kind of going rogue and trying to get her and just let Kay be the one that's causing all the chaos, secondary chaos. That would have been much better. But yeah, I think Elle dies. I think Mike tells that story in a way to comfort himself and his friends. Something they can
The
carry.
acceptance.
That little glimmer of hope, even though you know what the outcome was, there's that little glimmer of that there's a little bit of hope. You know, there's a little something out there that will always be. And I think that's what he was trying to do ultimately. But like I said, it's a very ambiguous ending that, like I said, it serves as a solid ending to the series, but also leaves the door cracked just enough to where if, you know, the Duffer Brothers start to struggle with some of their other endeavors, they can decide, well, we'll go back. Because I have to imagine the Duffer Brothers, as creative people, have already kind of talked about, well, if we revisit this, we should do something like this. Maybe not written a script or a treatment or really talked about it openly to anybody else. We're like, if we ever come back to Stranger Things and these characters, we could do this, that. And it's like, we'll just keep those in mind if we ever have to. I don't imagine they wouldn't have. But I really do like you. I love the fact that they had this one last game, that the entire series comes full circle. All the guys and now Sadie Sink's character, now Max there. She has her own book now, by the way. She has her own little folder for D&D. And then when he goes up the stairs, this next generation of kids coming down there and kind of starting up their own little thing. I can tell you right now that I knew girls just like that in the 80s, and there's no way in hell they'd have been caught dead playing D&D in a basement.
No.
But whatever. But these are the girls that actually experience being, you know, messed around with by Vecna, so maybe they have a different perspective on things. But so it is. It was
going
nice
toe to toe with a demon will do that to you. Yeah.
Yeah, playing on a tabletop game is probably a lot safer than actually going toe to toe with a mind flayer. But but yeah, it is a nice full circle moment for Mike as he's looking down, and I really love that final shot of him closing the door and then just kind of like slowly it fades into the door. For a moment I was like, if I see even a hint of red come up here, I'm gonna be kind of pissed. But it really wasn't. It was a good ending. So ultimately, I think Elle is dead. It's an ambiguous enough ending they can revisit if they want to.
Because I'm like, where is she going? What is she gonna do? Like, what? The point was, if she's still out there, they're not gonna stop. I'm like, right. So
I am kind of bummed they didn't kill Kay. That Kay, it would have been nice if Kay would have showed up during the final battle and she realizes that shit's hitting the fan, so she's trying to fight the Mind Flayer and the Mind Flayer kills her or Vecna kills her. That would have been a better ending than just her floating around out there somewhere. It's like she tries to get Elle escapes. She's like, oh, okay, off I go to the next thing. It's like that's not how people like General K work. But whatever. I also did love. No, go ahead.
Well, wasn't Linda Hamilton also like on the verge of like, I'm going to retire from acting? And they're like, can you do one more thing for us? And she's like, yeah, all right, fine.
At this point in her career,
she's also not like, you know.
Well, like she's playing with house money at this point. I
know, but like.
So she can retire if she wants, but I mean, she's the legend you bring in when you want to give your production a certain amount of gravitas. She's Sarah fucking Connor, for crying out loud. And Ellen Ripley.
I thought she was a little older than that. So,
yeah, but I mean, like I said, she's playing with house money. She can do what she wants. If somebody comes to her and says, "Hey, I got this thing," you don't need to work too hard because you're Sarah Connor. You don't have to. You just have to show up, spit out a few lines. You can be really intense for a couple of scenes. Here's $1 million. She's like, okay, because that's what she is now. But whatever. I also like the credits. The way that they kind of structured the credits to this final episode, like a D&D game, and when it in the credits when it closed to this book,
the actual manual.
I thought that was actually really cool. A lot of people were talking about how we're saying, "Oh, well, this was all just a D&D game and didn't really happen," and blah blah blah.
That was kind of the point. Yeah,
this was just a visual representation. It's a visual Easter egg. The die on the side and the bind over there. It was a nice little visual cue for all the super nerds out there like you who actually know things about D&D. I don't know shit about D&D.
Yeah, I caught it. Yeah,
but ultimately, it was a solid ending to a crazy series at times. Again, middle to the middle, but whatever. So let's go ahead and start to wrap things up there. I mean, I think Tex has made his views on season 5 pretty clear. But as a matter of fact, he came back in and said my phone died. Season 5. But so that's what Tex thinks about it. I don't know, Jeremy. Give me your final thoughts on the series finale of Stranger Things.
That was one hell of a ride, I will say. A couple things, like I said, that didn't really make sense to me, but I mean, I was just kind of still on edge a little bit to like where it was all going to end up and who was going to end up, doing what. But maybe that was my expectations. That I thought something really crazy was going to happen. Like I said, I was even really gonna be really mad. Like when I saw Murray running in slow motion towards the helicopter with the C4. I'm like, I've seen things before. I'm like, please don't kill him. Don't. I'm like, maybe if you don't kill a main character, don't kill someone like Murray. Jesus. But yeah, not really where I thought it was gonna end though. I thought maybe, I guess if we're gonna say that Elle did in fact die, maybe that's weirdly the thing to me that I can tell myself that yeah, I think it makes more sense narratively, and I can be okay with like her going down with the ship. Yeah, I know in the story they said like, oh well, maybe she's still out there. She still roams around. She's got a new life somewhere else, far away from all this nonsense. So happy endings. I don't know. And yeah, people got happy endings at least. Although apparently I completely missed the fact that Will's in the fucking worst place to goddamn be in the early 90s. I don't know how because I saw that moment. I thought, oh, that's nice. He's got a happy ending, at least the blooming of a happy ending, and then so does Max Lucas, Joyce Hopper. I'm like, okay, cool. He wasn't wearing big glasses and didn't ask him to go watch Exorcist 3, so maybe that's a good thing,
Hopefully
at least he didn't make the
thing.
at least it didn't look like fucking Dahmer. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It ended how I thought it would, again with a game of D&D, and it kind of being the whole joke. It's not like it was all a dream. It was all D&D games. Like, well, it kind of was. So yeah.
I should tweet the Duffer Brothers and ask them if they realized when they were doing all this, if they had dropped newly gay Will into Milwaukee while Jeffrey Dahmer was doing his thing in the area. I wonder if something escaped their mind. They just randomly picked the city. They were like, whatever, Milwaukee in the 90s.
You don't randomly pick Milwaukee. Come on.
I mean, it's Midwest, sort of. I think Milwaukee's still considered Midwest. So he's not far from Hawkins. He's still close, but kind of far enough away to where he can start his own life. Maybe they just thought that was going to fit. He had already been in California for a while earlier in the series. Going back to San Francisco would have fit perfectly. Late 80s, early 90s, San Francisco gay culture was acceptable. It would have made more sense to me, but Milwaukee's a weird choice. Yeah, I thought it was a solid ending. I don't hate it nearly as much as Tex did. Again, there are some things I rolled my eyes at, but my biggest problem is there should have been at least one or two significant deaths. I mean, other than Elle, I feel like it would have been better. It would have served the ending better to make it more emotionally hard hitting. But everybody living except for Elle was kind of, I mean, whatever. I mean, again, they made it very clear the last several episodes that Elle kind of couldn't live. At least the plan was for her to not be around anymore in one fashion or another. But more deaths would have made it hit a lot harder. But again, sometimes I want the happy ending that only Celluloid can deliver. I want, like I said, the good guy to win, the bad guy to die in some awesome special effects assisted way, and for the good guy to get the girl at the end. You give me those things, and generally speaking, I'm going to be happy. And that's what it did for me. Again, my biggest problem with the series overall, 5 seasons in 11 years, is kind of stupid. It's part Netflix's problem. Again, the strikes and everything played a lot into this 5th season as well. I know they wanted to get it out faster, but there was other stuff.
I didn't help.
Yeah, there was other stuff that they didn't really have a lot of control over at the end of the day. But I mean, still, you got to have more of a plan, because I do think there were some story elements that were rushed because they knew that Millie Bobby Brown's career is starting to take off. Mike's career is starting to take off. Other guys, Sadie Sink is really going to take off. We still don't know who Spider-Man. We still don't know who she's going to be in Spider-Man. The fact that they're putting so much secrecy around that role tells me that it's probably not a small role. But all these kids are going to do a lot of bigger and better things. They were going to get really expensive really fast, which I think is why they decided to make season 5 the last one. But a good series, a good season, a solid ending to it all. Again, all the things that I could gripe about didn't really take away much from the overall enjoyment that I had of the series. But anyway, go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Stranger Things is now all wrapped up. Let us know what you guys thought of the series, not just the finale, but as the series as a whole. Thanks to Tex first off for coming and hanging out for a little bit till his phone died. Always appreciate having him around. Hopefully, as we get back into some more, we're doing some more horror stuff as we get into the summer of 2026. So hopefully he'll be able to find some more time to come back around and do that. And of course, thanks to my hetero life mate Jeremy for being so awesome as always, helping be my D&D sounding board so I could sound just a little bit smarter about some of the D&D stuff. Where can the folks that don't find you?
I got you. Well, yeah, I'm here Tuesdays, Thursdays. Now that Stranger Things has ended, Thursday is more Fallout, which I'm also weirdly. Oh, look at that!
There we go.
Weirdly an aficionado of, which to be fair, I mean, I think when I was playing Fallout a little bit earlier, Rachel was like, if I think about Fallout in the context of D&D, it kind of makes a little more sense. I'm like, no, that's fair. Actually, it's very much kind of in the same vein, with the different stats, different strengths of your character, what kind of character you want to be, what kind of build, what kind of weapons. It's pretty similar. So yeah, more Fallout on Thursday, and probably we'll be able to catch up with Fallout since Tuesday is now open. I think the only other thing coming out right now is Iron Lung, Markiplier's movie that comes out on like the 31st. That's the only thing movie-wise I think I know what's coming. Because I definitely did not watch 28 Years Later. I just kind of forgot to.
I didn't get a chance to make it out to watch 28 Years Later. A couple of people whose opinions that I trust on movies have said that it's a pretty good movie. So I'm going to definitely try to go watch it. And again, I'm interested with this Iron Lung movie. It looks like a very low budget horror movie, which is where horror shines, is when the budget's low and you have to really
it's a
character.
So the video game, yeah.
So I've seen the one trailer and I'm intrigued. It looks very gritty, and I'm going to try to give that a watch. Well, I'm hoping we'll be able to do that. But yes, the next several episodes are going to be all about Fallout. We're going to get caught up on Fallout. And then one way or another, we're going to take a little bit of time off as we get into February. Let Jeremy decompress. I'm going to decompress. I still have some stuff to do. I just moved my office around, which is why you're seeing this generic background instead of the mess that is behind me. I got poster against the wall and boxes and stuff. I moved my entire studio around. So it'll give me some time to take care of some of that stuff.
That'll be perfect though after Fallout ends, because I'm pretty sure that Bethesda is apparently going to shadow drop, but I think we all know when it's coming. I think right after season 2 ends for the Fallout show, they're gonna re-release the remastered versions of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. So to be fair, I will probably just go on the entire month of February. So that's a good time to do that, because I'll want to go back and replay those games. Since they did that with Oblivion, they remastered that last year and just dropped that on all of us out of nowhere. We're like, whoa, okay. So, and there's a little countdown timer on Bethesda's website. We're all pretty sure it's right when the season ends, and they'll give us 3 in Vegas again. So, and I'm just sitting here like, here, take my caps, take all of them. So,
take my caps, take all my caps.
Yeah, I'll even give you my Blue Star caps. I'll even give you those.
Yeah. We'll be balls deep in Fallout for the next probably week and a half, 2 weeks when we finish that season up 2 of Fallout. Season 3 has already been greenlit, so I'm looking forward to doing that already as well.
Oh, yes.
But we will see you guys on Thursday. Break down whatever episode of Fallout is coming up next. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Tex. Thank you, all of you, for coming to hang out. We very much appreciate it. We will see you guys next time. Till then. Adios. That
was for Eddie, you son of a bitch.
The Wheelers were back. Look, the Wheelers lived. That's a good thing. But, whatever. I mean, did he get killed by?
Ted, we need to give him more bacon.
They had that Justice for Han thing when the Fast and Furious movie came out.
Yeah.
We need justice for Ted Wheeler. I'm gonna have to tweet the Duffer Brothers and get some answers on this one. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.